Trust me, many students do not actually know its importance. So if you want to take an early advantage, make sure you watch. So hey guys, welcome back to your own channel with a very interesting video on the last minute tips and tricks for your ICSE History and Civics board exams. So before we begin, I would like to say you all something. If you are looking for the success mantra in History and Civics exam preparation, I must tell you that there is one and only step which you must follow if you really want to score well in this exam. And that point is, it is wiser to leave the rest chapters than to do all the chapters in a great hurry. I repeat, it is wiser to leave the rest chapters than to do all the chapters in a great hurry. Please understand the deep meaning of these lines. It means that you will not move on to the next chapter unless and until you have that chapter at your fingertips. See, History and Civics preparation is completely based upon the knowledge of points. If your points are not clear, you cannot even answer the short answers properly. So believe me, follow this very success mantra and then see the sudden change in you. Now let's come on to the points which we would be covering in the whole video. So these are how to utilize the first 15 minutes reading time, the best sequence order in which we must attempt a paper, section-wise analysis and super tips, the best way to cover the whole syllabus, important chapters, what does the examiner demand from your paper, the best book to follow at this very moment, 5 quick super tips, should we over-attempt in this paper, and the most important point in which I will tell you the heart of this paper or the most important thing which will bring you 100 out of 100 marks in this exam for sure. Trust me, many students do not actually know its importance. So if you want to take an early advantage, make sure you watch the whole video till the end. So without any delay, let's move on to the most efficient first 15 minutes reading time usage. So here, I suggest you to follow the 5-5-5 rule. In the first 5 minutes, what you must do is to read all the short answers in a quick manner in order to get a brief idea about that. The reason behind this is that short answer questions are usually to the point stuff and they do not take much time if you know all the basics. Now in the next 5 minutes, you will choose those 2 questions which you will attempt in the civics long answer section. Make sure you utilize these time durations very carefully. And in the last 5 minutes, you might have guessed that we will choose the best 3 questions from the history long answer section which we know we can write about them as much as we can. I am again saying, please utilize these last 10 minutes in a very calm and relaxed manner. Take a deep breath and then choose those questions because those questions will be your marks deciders. If we talk about the best sequence order in which we must attempt our paper, I strongly recommend you all to go with the flow, starting from short answers and ending with long answers. There are a number of solid reasons behind that. First thing is that while you attempt short answers at first, it gives you more and more confidence to write the long answers very effectively. Second thing, sometimes what happens, the short answer questions have that very content which is very much required for writing your long answers given in your paper. For example, sometimes dates are given in the questions, so these points you can easily use in your long answer writing. Third thing, long answers require a lot of brainstorming and relaxed state. Once you attempt short answers at first, you are left with only long answers. It means that you are now load free since there is nothing ahead of that. Now let's come on to the section wise analysis. As you all know that we have 2 parts in our paper, that are part 1 and part 2. If we talk about the part 1 of your paper, so this section contains all the short answer questions, and I must say that this is the most scoring section of your paper. If you know the basics about each and every chapter, you can easily score 30 on 30 in this section. But the point is that you must have a deep knowledge of the roots of every chapters. Once you have digested them, you are done with the part 1 of your paper. While part 1 was the scoring part, similarly the part 2 of your paper is your marks decider portion. Trust me, if you have mastered this section, no one else can prevent you from scoring full marks in this subject. If you want to know the exact way to get 10 marks in every long answer you attempt, just stay connected to this video because in the further portion, you will be equipped with all the important points and strategies. And if you understood the deep meaning behind that strategy, you will kill this exam. And the first thing that comes into our mind when we hear this subject is cramming. See, history civics no doubt involves cramming, but it is only 40% of the exam's preparation. Rest 60% depends on your thorough knowledge of the subject. We generally prepare for this subject in a wrong manner. The most efficient preparation follows 3 steps. First is knowing your syllabus. What most of us do is that we start reading the chapter without knowing the syllabus, and by reading the whole chapter we feel bored. what I want you is to first check the index which is present at the start of every chapter. And only those topics are asked in the exam. Rest of the topics are just for general understanding. For example, in the chapter of assertive nationalists, it is clearly written in the index that you have to remember their names and only 2 contributions of everyone. But we generally read the whole of the topic, and this is the main reason of boredom in history civics preparation. Now that you know the syllabus, the second thing to do is to see your short and long answers of every chapter, and instead of cramming them, form your own answers on the basis of what you read in the chapter. In history and civics paper, only points are checked. No one sees the wordings of your answer. The third and the most important thing to do is to make flow charts for every long answer. Flow chart is a simple type of diagram that represents whole of your answer in a single go. Some flow charts are also given in your book, but make sure you also add your flavor in them. If you don't know what flow charts are, you can search it on Google to get a perfect idea about that. Let me tell you that if in your board exams you draw a clear flow chart for every long answer, trust me, the examiner will not look on the matter which you would have written below. The procedure for writing long answers is making a flow chart first and then explaining your points on the basis of that flow chart. In your flow charts, it is advised that you draw different shapes in order to make it attractive, but make sure it looks tidy and catchy. And if you follow these 3 steps, I guarantee your proficiency in this subject for sure. If we talk about the important chapters, I would like to tell you that its preparation is based upon the units. For example, history portion contains 5 units and civics portion includes 3 units, from which you can skip any 1 unit from each of the portions. Like the units in history include chapters 1 and 2 as 1 unit, chapter 3, 4, 5 another unit, chapter 6, 7, 8, 9, then chapters 10, 11, 12, and finally chapters 13, 14 and 15. So here what you can do is that you can skip any 1 unit. For example, you can skip chapters 6, 7, 8 and 9. But make sure that if you skip any 1 unit, then you must have a solid command on the other 4. And also, chapter skipping is only valid for long answers. You will have to memorize the short answers of every chapter. Similar is the case with civics. The units are chapter 1, then chapter 2 and 3, and finally chapter 4 and 5. Here also you can skip any 1 unit. If we talk about the checking, the examiner only checks your points in your answer with respect to the marks of the question. Another thing that increases your score in long answer writing is the use of flow charts. Flow charts make a solid impression upon your examiner that you have a deep knowledge of the subject. Moreover, flow charts are easier to remember rather than long scripted answers because flow charts get stored in our visual memory and thus it is retained in our mind for far more duration. If we talk about the best book to follow at this very moment, I must say that apart from your regular school book, you must go for past 10 years question papers. Believe me, when you will solve those papers, you will come to know that some previous year questions actually repeat in the next board exams. So please follow this advice in order to become the topper in history and civics exam. Now let's come on to the 5 quick super tips which you must follow for this exam in order to fetch more marks. So the tips are, first of all, just brainwash your mind of the fact that one cannot get full marks in history and civics exam. Focus strongly on giving points along with paragraph writing in your long answers. Also underline them. Try to make flow charts in almost every long answer you write. Try to use 2 different pens in order to make your long answers attractive. For example, a combination of black and blue. Always try to give the points equal to or even more than the marks of that question. Now let's come on to a very important query of most of you, that should we over attempt in this paper or not? So the clear-cut answer from my side is a big no. What I believe is that in this paper one must put all his potential to attempt only the required questions rather than going for extra questions. The main point in this paper is to give our best in whichever question we attempt, not over attempt. So this was only a suggestion to you all, rest is again in your hands. Now let's come on to the most suspenseful part of this video, that is the heart of your paper or the most important thing which will bring you 100 out of 100 marks in this exam for sure. Now that you have reached here, you would have most probably guessed that. But even if you fail to guess that, it's my responsibility to again remind you that it is nothing but flow charts. See, flow charts are damn important. One can never neglect them. Most of you might be unknown of this fact, but now that you have known its importance, so why not use it in our present board exams? Also, one more important point. What I perceived from the previous year exam, that there is a much higher probability that you can get a question from Lok Sabha, President, Vice President or even Lok Adalat. So this was a plus point for all those who are still watching this video. So with this note, we end up our video. Make sure you comment in the comment section below if you have any doubts regarding this paper. Also share this video to at least your 3 friends if you really like this valuable information. I will meet you soon on another video again based upon your own comments. So till then, stay happy, stay fit, all the very best. Strive hard till your good is better and your better is best. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.